Thank you all for being here and stay with us. We have a packed program ahead of us, so we dive into super interesting topics, absolutely relevant to the travel industry. We have the best of the best invited to the stage here at the ITB Berlin convention. So stick around and get ready for the next session. Before I introduce the next speaker, I want to shout out again a warm thank you to our track sponsor today, is checkout.com. Checkout.com later, together with MasterCard and Get Your Guide, they will have a panel discussion about payments in travel. Super relevant, a lot of opportunities there, a lot to learn, so I can only encourage you to join. And I promise you, they make the boring topic of payments super interesting and engaging. So really, it's worth staying here with us. And now, please, attention for the next session. The title of the next session is From Chaos to Cruise Control. That sounds very promising to me, powered by Tripmatrix. And please welcome with me on stage the wonderful travel and hospitality advisor at Tripmatrix, Anna Milas. The stage is yours. Thank you for being here.
Hi, everyone. There are some people still standing here, sitting. Thank you. Thank you for being here. You know, when they told me at ITB, they said there's a dress code, and they never told me there's going to be red lights. So green and red, if you have any kind of pain in your eyes, any eye ache, please stop by the stand 134. It's right next door. So there's not going to be any eye doctors, but you can talk about some other topics, such as Tripmatrix to these guys, okay? So when I was trying to think of how to introduce Tripmatrix to people, I thought maybe you should do an icebreaker, Anna. You should do something that, you should talk about something that people like to talk about. So what do people love talking about? I'm Croatian, and in Croatia, people love talking about problems. But I heard it's a global thing, so we can't brand it as a Croatian thing because people all over the world love talking about problems. So let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was going on a business trip, and as you might see, I was going to New York City. So, very nice. I was supposed to travel from Zagreb to London and then to New York. But then what happened? My flight was late to London. We came to London, and imagine, this was right after COVID. So they fired all these people from Heathrow. And there were all these new people, new hires, who had no idea actually what they were doing. So we lost our flight, and we were trying to figure, where is the next flight for us to take us to New York? So there was 3 flights that same evening, but nobody could figure how to put us on any of those flights. So what we did, we found some hotel nearby London. We stayed at this hotel nearby London. We shopped at a supermarket. We all looked like a choir. Everybody had the same thing on. And the next morning, we flew to New York. So here's a picture of me with the Statue of Liberty. As you know, this is not an actual Statue of Liberty. This is Newark, New Jersey. This is where we got. So anyhow, why am I telling you this story? Because it can always get worse. Once we experienced all of these things, next thing that happened, they lost our luggage. So this is actual picture from Heathrow. Among these bags is my bag as well. Anyhow, what really frustrated us wasn't just the sole fact that they lost the luggage, that they couldn't find an alternative flight. What bothered us was the fact that we were not taken care of. Our enthusiasm fell down because there was nobody who could help us. So we lost our trust. And this loss of trust birthed this anxiety and this frustration we were feeling. If only there was just like this one central place where you can just go to and, you know, figure how to resolve your issue, right? That would be awesome. So who am I? Why am I here? My name is Anna Milas. As I told you already, I'm from Croatia. I don't know how much it matters to you, but I've been in travel industry, in technology business, in marketing and sales for the past 15 years. So one day I found these guys from Tripmatrix. I liked their story, and they liked my story. And this is how we kind of got together, me as an advisor and them as a platform that I truly believe in. So my agenda for today is I already talked about problems. You know that talking about problems, that actually there's a study that says that when it comes to newspaper headlines, there's a 63% higher click-through rate on the bad headlines than on the good ones. Imagine that. Objectives. That's my second topic. And finally, solutions. So imagine your typical workday as a travel agency tour operator. So you're getting to work, and what do? You open up your laptop, you scroll through, you see your emails, somebody's sending you a message on WhatsApp, maybe somebody's calling you. You have all this, all these social media interactions. And I just got to stop here because aren't we people just so amazing? Because we handle all these things, all this information, and with just this tiny, stingy 10% of our brains. I think that's kind of amazing. So why do you think people travel? Why do you think people travel? Does anybody know? Why? They want to see nice places? What about the lady up front? Why do you think people travel? Exploration. Might be. It is, for sure, right? You know what I think? Because I have a mic on. I think people travel because they want to be happy. And I think that we, in the travel business, we don't actually sell trips. We sell happiness. Now, this might sound like a cliche, but when you think about it, what do? They want to get this feeling. So, when we want to make our client happy, we want them to feel secure, we want them to feel cared about, we want them to feel respected at all times. We missed that thing at Heathrow, but this is something we don't want to do to our clients, We want them to be happy. So that sometimes requires you to do a lot of calling, a lot of, interaction, a lot of relationship building. So imagine you have a customer who actually booked a trip, and 2 weeks prior to the trip, he does some cancellation. His friend is not going to travel. He wants to cancel this. He wants to cancel that. He wants to change some things. So what you do, you have a lot of manual work, a lot of things that you have to do. You have to handle promptly all this information. You got to do cancellations. You got to call suppliers. You're getting stressed out. It's not even 9 a.m. So the good thing about problems, issues, is they always ask for innovation. They force innovation. The thing about Tripmatrix is that they saw an issue. They were a travel agency. They saw a problem, and they thought of, okay, there's an actual need, so now we're going to provide people with a solution that we can use, and other people who feel the same way can use it too. So I would also recommend to you guys, if you want, there is a very good book. It's called The Innovation Stack. It's written by a billionaire who actually started a company called The Square. Now it's called Block Inc. Very good book, very well written. Why am I suggesting this? Because they built this model where you have a problem and then you build a stack of innovation things, And then they finally came up to the unique selling proposal they needed. So it's a very good book, very applicable. My advice, if anybody wants to read, you can do it. So I remember my first job interviews when I was still in college. What they told us back then, it was very trendy to talk about multitasking. So everybody had multitasking written on their CVs. We are very experienced in multitasking at the age of 23, right? No way. The only multitasking we had was partying in college. The further I went in my career, I realized that multitasking is not all that cool because when you do one task and then you finish it, that's good. That's a good feeling. And then you go to another task. But the technology that we are just not resistant to nowadays is just forcing us to do a lot of things at once. And when you do a lot of things and you have a lot of technological tools, sometimes you get lost. You're actually running on a treadmill. You're not doing a lot. So this also requires a lot of manual work. And a lot of manual work means it costs money. So we don't want to, there's my slide with Jerry Maguire. costs a lot of money, so we don't want to do that. We don't want to spend money. We don't want to hate on Monday. So what do? We do dream building. As a seasoned marketer, I went through all parts of marketing, let's say. So one of the parts I went through was websites. I personally believe that custom is not always the best thing. Why do I say that? Because I was never in the business of selling websites. For me, websites are a tool. It's something we use, yeah, as our personal ID to our brand, right? So for you, you don't need to be a programmer to use, for example, Tripmatrix. It's easy as a website builder, like WordPress. So you have things on your left side, you have things on your right side, you build your trip. And it's really easy. And that's the whole point of it. So it's not complicated. The whole point of not being complicated, so let me turn this to a benefit, is the fact that you can focus on building your business and not solely building an offer or whatever. Another important thing to note is there is no installation, no subscription fee, no onboarding costs, no monthly subscriptions. How awesome does that sound? I think it sounds good. You just log in and you do your work, and this is awesome. Now I'm going to tell you another story. Wolfpack. It's a well-oiled machine. My husband, he likes to spend time watching Animal Planet, National Geographic, Netflix, you name it. Whenever there's an animal, my husband knows a lot about it. He knows about wolves too, because we all have our leisure once we come home from work. He watches TV, I do the dishes. You know, that's how it works in my household. Anyhow, my husband always tells me, Anna, wolves are incredibly social animals. They're even more social than humans, I would say. Because us humans, we kind of waste our social battery at one point, and we don't want to be social anymore, right? But when you're in the business of making people happy, in a travel happiness business, then you have to, you got to be cool with people. You got to understand people. You got to make them feel good. You got to be cool with your colleagues as well. Although sometimes you don't want to even work with your colleagues. I mean, we all go through different days of the week. So we must be able to collaborate efficiently. What does that mean? So imagine building a trip and somebody, your client calls your colleague and he cancels one portion. Your colleague does a change in the system and you immediately see it. It's a real-time thing, okay? As I said earlier, again, happiness business, right? So aside from making our colleagues happy, our client happy, everybody is happy around us, we should make ourselves happy, right? We should also be happy and satisfied in what we do. So I personally, when I go shopping, whenever I buy something, I like a merchant that offers me options. I don't like not having options. So I like when I see there's Visa, there is MasterCard, there is Apple Pay. You know, if you want to live above your standards, you can pay in installations, whatever you want. I mean, there's options. And the thing about Tripmatrix is that you have payment options. You can, for example, pay 30% now, 70% later. For example, you have your cancellation policy. For example, you know, there's a nice way of saying, we understand that you have to cancel, but we still have to charge you. And you can set up all these things inside. You know, policy has never been this attractive. You know, there's actual policies in the system, and you can still change it till the last minute. So, the best part, you don't get charged until you have charged. What does this mean? That means the Tripmatrix doesn't charge anything until you have charged your client. And then Tripmatrix, of course, takes some percentage. I need to get some water. I don't know about you guys, but it's good to hydrate yourself. So, the final step, creating an offer. How many people don't have a system of creating an offer for your clients? You don't. Stop by 134 later. Actually, so the final step, a good thing about Tripmatrix and why I really like this thing, I'm a huge technology fan, but a technology that actually works, that I see as a good addition to my work. I don't want to be, you know, dependent on technology. I want technology to be my assistant to help me do the stuff I have to do. So the thing about Tripmatrix is that you can, up until the end, you can still edit, adjust your policies, and just when you're 100% ready, you send your offer. And then your client sees your offer is a link. It's not a PDF. It's not a Word or whatever. It's a link. They click on the link, and then they call you. Oh, hi, Brian. I got to change something on your... No, not a problem. We're going to change that too. And you can see it real time, okay? So so that it's not just my talk, let me show you a short video. It's only 2 minutes. Okay.
How many spreadsheets, tools, and software are you currently using to manage your travel business? How complex are your current processes?
Imagine if you can use a single software for building trips, creating and sending offers, communicating with your clients, payment processing, and much, much more.
How much time and money would you save? Enter Tripmatrix software. Tripmatrix is a commission-based travel agency software for making, managing, and selling travel products and services. Travel agencies, tour operators, and DMCs of all sizes are utilizing Tripmatrix to manage their day-to-day business.
Let me show how we can use our all-in-one trip builder. A client sent an inquiry and she asked for 12 days trip to Italy. She said her interests are culture, art, and history, and also wine and gastronomy. I suggested 3 days in Rome, 5 days in Florence, and 4 days in Venice. Then I added accommodation for each city, found all the right activities, meals, and arranged transportation. All I need to do next is to press send, and in a second, client has the whole trip at a glance. But they always want to change something. But no problem. With Tripmatrix, you can make customizations in an instant, and the client sees the changes right away.
When the client accepts your offer, Tripmatrix can process payment, and client will automatically receive a payment receipt and travel documentation. You can easily track all payment methods, due payments, cancellations, and more. Built in the cloud with intuitive design, available across all devices, makes Tripmatrix software easy to use, easy to learn, and easy to teach. Built-in web booking engine allows you to add your products and services and customize your landing page based on your needs. Last but not least, our team of experts in the travel industry and software development built Tripmatrix software with patience to transform travel business worldwide. Visit us at www.tripmatrix.com and find out more about our amazing product.
Nice. I mean, I'm just saying this because I have a microphone. You might not agree. So anyhow, at the beginning of this presentation, I had a big wish. I had a wish that you leave this room after my presentation and you take some key takeaways with you. One of the key takeaways I'd like to note is that Tripmatrix is a one central place platform. It's very easy to use, guys. It's intuitive. And that, I like stuff that are easy to use. We don't want to waste our time on technology. Technology is here to help us, right? There's zero upfront charged. And the best thing, it's developed by travel agents, by people who actually understand where you're coming from and what your challenges and situations are, okay? So, for any further questions, you can reach Tripmatrix at our website. You can stop by right here if you leave these doors to the left. Hall 61, stand 134. My name is Ana Milas. Thank you so much for paying attention, and I hope you reach out to us. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Ana Milas from Tripmatrix. Thank you, that was fantastic. And make sure to pop by, the booth is just next door.
Okay.
Thank you for having been here.